said. So they now stormed the house, entered the room before we went onto the balcony. And my mother had hidden myself and my younger sister in their wardrobe, of all places. That's where she hid us. So when they came in, all we could hear was that there's nothing here. She was, there's nothing here. I said, what is going on? What is here? What is here? What is here? There's nothing there. He's gone downstairs. He's downstairs. And she now told us that one of them now picked up his, cocked his machine gun and pointed it towards the wardrobe. I was going to spray the whole thing. And she said, my children are there. John said, don't kill them, please. And that's how we were not killed. Actually, my older brother, one of them was there, Rotimi, because when they now opened the wardrobes, he was fixated completely. He couldn't move. My younger sister was weeping, sobbing, and I was crying, but at least I could move. But my older brother couldn't move. So he froze there, and we now came out. And this I'm coming to the defining moment now. When we now came out of the wardrobe, and of course there was just havoc. Soldiers were everywhere, trampling the whole place. And I went into the passage, I stood there, and I was all alone. I just didn't know where my mom was at that point. I didn't know where my sister was. I was just standing there on my own, and these guys were just all around me, moving around. And then one of them came up to me, and he put his hand on my head, and he said, don't cry, don't cry, don't worry, we won't kill your father. And when he said that to me, honestly, I stopped crying. The tears just stopped. Because it's like somehow I just felt this assurance, even at that young age, despite what I was seeing. And it was at that point that my mother now appeared again, and then we all went to the balcony because, of course, they were ready to go. And I witnessed all the altercation downstairs, what they were saying and doing to him. And they now put in the lorry, and my mother screaming again on the balcony that don't kill him, don't kill him. And as they were driving off, I turned around to my mother and I said, Mommy, don't cry, because the man said they won't kill him. So don't cry, they won't kill him. And they drove off. And I remember the backlights of the lorry, and I thought to myself, well, this is quite something. Everybody, it was a terrible experience. And of course, he was the only person who the soldiers visited that night, January, not sure, I think 16th, 1966. He was the only person that was not killed. Every single other house, premises that they visited, they killed the people there. They went to Chief Akitola's house after they left our own house. The same soldiers went there because they were in charge of the operation in southwestern region. And he was firing from inside, because my father told me this. He resisted them. As a matter of fact, wounded 2 of their soldiers. And when his ammunition ran out, evidently he had gunmen inside the building. When the ammunition now ran out on the inside, he now came out. And my father told us that he was shouting, obviously he couldn't hear him, but because he had been tied up by now. He was shouting from the lorry that, look, don't shoot, just come out, don't shoot. But obviously they couldn't hear him. And he was sitting there in the lorry again, bullets were flying everywhere, the soldiers were taking it. He was just sitting there, not one bullet touched him. Anyway, Akitola now came out with his hands up in the air when the ammunition had finished, with a white handkerchief, I think. And the minute he stepped out, these guys just sprayed him. I mean, they just sprayed him from every angle and killed him. And later on, of course, we learned that Tafawa Balewa, the Prime Minister, had also been abducted. When they came for him, he told them, let me pray before you kill me. They took him to an unknown destination. They allowed him to pray, and then they killed him, and then they mutilated him. Okuchiebo, the Minister of Finance, they went to his home, took him away. They butchered him, killed him. They mutilated him. They dragged his body all over the streets, the back of the vehicle. Tafawa Balewa's case was particularly bad. And you see, I'm not trying to be gory, because it's important that we remember these things, because so that people will realize that this sort of thing must never happen again. When I say mutilated, they really mean they cut, they pull out his eyes, all that sort of thing. They really mean it.
What happened to your old man? Did he come back a day or two?
What happened was very interesting, because as the situation was unfolding, we got a clear picture of what was happening all over the country. And like I said, everybody, Adimulegu, who was the number 2 in the Nigerian military, was up in Ibadan, in Kaduna at the time. They went in, they stormed the place. He had an 8-month-old pregnant wife in bed with him. They butchered the wife, they butchered him. They did the same to Washpam. They did the same to so many other people. Mai Malari, Zach Mai Malari, the highest ranking, I think, Northern Army officer of the day. They butchered him in Lagos. The same people that killed him went to his cocktail the night before to celebrate with him. And they came back early hours of the morning and they slaughtered him. Okay? So it was happening everywhere. And of course the list, you know all the people that were killed that night. Everybody has his own story. But what happened to my dad again was very interesting. They now took him to Lagos, to Bonny Camp. And it was just divine intervention, because what saved his life was this. They were to take him there and kill him there. That was the plan. Take them to a destination, kill them there. But unfortunately for the coup plotters, unfortunately for us, the gentleman that was in charge of Bonny Camp, that's I believe must have been Colonel then or whatever, Yakubu Gawan, didn't spend the night at Bonny Camp. Don't ask me he spent the night. There are all kinds of conflicting stories about that. But he didn't spend the night. And that's what saved his life and saved my dad's life. Because without killing the commanding officer, there was always a possibility the Bonny Camp wouldn't go their way. So when they got to Bonny Camp, they got in all right. They took my dad into a guard room or whatever you call it. 3 soldiers surrounded him. And my dad told us that as he walked into that guard room, that he remembered there was a particular army officer. He didn't have his shirt on. It may not have been a guard room, it was a room of some sort, because there was somebody there shaving. And he said their eyes met. The man was shaving. And he looked through the mirror and their eyes met just for a split second. And then they put him on the floor, tied up. They now surrounded him with machine guns. And that is the people that brought him there. And the others now left 3 soldiers guarding him, you know. And he said he now started having a conversation with them. Why are you doing this? What's going on? He said, we've killed everybody. Don't you know that you people, you didn't get us new boots, you didn't get us new uniforms? That's the kind of thing he was saying. He said, so because of new boots and uniforms you want to kill? He said, yes, you people have been stealing money, you've been this. All right. Meanwhile, the man that was shaving just continued to shave as if nothing was happening. And then he now quietly left the room. He said about an hour later, that same man that was shaving came through that door, but only this time it was like fire was coming out of his eyes. He led a team of soldiers, and he said when he came in, he couldn't believe this is the same person that he saw so calm. Just about an hour later, the man came in blasting, and he had soldiers coming following him. They were all shooting. Meanwhile, the ones that were guarding him turned, or rather kept him in custody, turned their guns around to, you know, face the oncoming fire. So they also returned fire. And he said there he was in the middle of the room once again, this time, just sitting there tied up.